Hi, my name is Kevin McDonald, and I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. And your head was turned the other way when I played the opening, because guess who's there now?
Miss Muffet.
Yes. Did you see her?
No, I didn't, but I did get a glimpse of her the other day, so I knew you put it on there.
Oh, very good. Very good. Yes, she's just adorable. By the way, you're listening to My Independence Report. This is a very special My Independence Report because we have got a new star, a budding star that is going to make the world shine brightly. And at least I'm hoping so, because her life is an amazing journey. Kayla May, the spiritual warrior, is what we've decided to call her, because she was on KKNW with me yesterday. Did a fabulous job. Had a lady almost in tears, and because she was about ready to lose her cat of 14 years and stuff. So we had a really good time with that, and you can listen to that on the podcast. And then Kayla, she left yesterday to go to a family reunion. She had a family reunion. She lost her keys. She found her keys, and then she drove home. Kayla May, what happened?
Well, after finding my stinking keys and having a conversation with my Uncle Mike,
now your Uncle Mike is the one who has passed on,
yes,
but likes to do pranks with you.
Yep, he's my trickster. And he's the one that tells me the smart ass, comments. You're not doing it right. You should have done it this way, or, oh, there you go, girl, or, just one of those. More of a guide, I would say. But yesterday on my way home with both of my children in the car, I came upon a wreck that had just happened in front of me.
This is on I-5.
Yep, right there by Anacortes. It was right coming towards I-5, so it was that Anacortes highway stretch.
Okay, got it.
Where the casino and stuff is, but it was about 2 miles to a mile back from the actual Anacortes exit or entrance or whatever you want to call it. Well, I see people stopped. I see debris all over the road. And I see a motorcycle. I see a van that's back end was completely scrunched in. I asked a man on the scene, which was another bike driver I later on found out that they weren't connected. They weren't together. They were just driving ahead of him, and he was a lone bike rider. And I see him because I didn't get a response from the other one. And this guy, I don't even know how he walked up to me, but he walked up to me completely covered in blood from head to toe. And I asked him if he needed help, and he said yes. I instantly, after stopping traffic, pulled my car over to the other side, and I parked my car, told my kids to stay in, and I ran immediately to this man to give him attention. I asked him where he was hurt. I looked all over his body to where I could visibly see where he was bleeding, and it was from his neck and his wrists. And I ran back to my car, grabbed my seat covers that I have in the back of my car, wrapped his whole body, well, like not his whole body, but his arms that were bleeding really bad, and applied pressure to his neck. He then told me he was getting very dizzy and wasn't feeling well. So I crossed traffic again, holding his neck and his bleeding wrists, and sat him on the back of my car and continued to hold pressure on this man's neck and wrists until the ambulance got there almost 15 minutes later.
So what kind of a conversation did you have with him while you were holding his neck and basically keeping him alive?
I didn't even ask him his name. That's how far the conversation went, because in reality, I had not only was protecting and trying to save him, I stopped a fight to happen because the father in the van got out because he had his children, which is absolutely understandable. If you've been in a wreck with your kids, you instantly go into freak out mode. And I understand where that father was coming from 150%. And I know that in that point in time, there was no need to be arguing. It was a time of realization and serious need of somebody that could possibly bleed out at that point in time. There's no reason for a fight. So that's why I brought him over to my car. I told that father that he needs to go check on his family, make sure his wife and kids are okay, make sure he's okay, and enough is enough.
How did you get so brave, young lady? Where did that come from?
I don't even know. I wouldn't even consider it braveness. I would consider it, I went into a mom act. I went into a full-blown mom mode, protection mode. I not only had to protect him and figure out the scene, I had to stop the fight. I had to protect my children as well. So in that, all in that time, I felt like I had 8 hands. There was somebody there with me that was physically saying, do this, do this, do this, because it was so instant that it just came like it was natural, like I was a natural medic or a natural EMT, a doctor that somebody's saving somebody's life, like in a real movie.
Because he was sitting there and he was obviously bleeding out.
Yeah.
And he was feeling, it's one of the symptoms of major blood loss is becoming dizzy.
And he was losing feelings in his extremities.
And so he was literally watching his life ebb away.
Yeah. And there was just no need for fighting and conflict. I did right then in that point in time what I hope to goodness any other good Samaritan would do if that were my child.
And
because when I saw it, Kevin, I instantly pictured my children. And if that was a scenario that they would have been in, I would hope somebody would have the decency to do what I did.
And you met him on the fast lane side. Yep. And then because that's where you were driving.
Yeah.
And then you pulled all the way over to the other side in front of traffic and got out of your car and then went back to him and helped him out. And then you guys crossed traffic again to put him on the back of your van so that he could sit there and you could apply pressure, which is ultimately what kept him alive.
I can pray, that he didn't have any internal, visibly seeing the whole back end of a van. And if you guys all know vans, and if you're listening, you know that you have your back row and your middle row. Imagine the whole back end to the middle row. And this was a bike and body.
Now
the bike flew. I didn't even see this happen. I saw the him walking towards me.
So it was the aftermath of getting running into the van. And we're going to talk about that in a minute because motorcycle safety is a huge issue. Yes. And people tend to think that they're invincible. But so he was traveling at must have been a high rate of speed.
It had to have been 80 plus. There was no way him going 50 nor 70 would have made that dent.
Well, and my guess is that traffic was slowing down ahead of him and he wasn't paying attention to it. And probably, did you see any skid marks or anything like that? You probably didn't even notice.
I wasn't even in that. No, Mom said, yeah. And my mom said there wasn't when they drove back from that way too. Because they all saw the van,
We didn't see no helmet either.
Yeah, no helmet. I didn't.
I am amazed that you had the presence of mind to be able to do all of that and to protect your children. And what did the EMT say when they got there?
They thanked me, and I was very specific on where his wounds were because I had already checked him out, from the upper part, to his waist, because I had ripped his shirt up to see if he was bleeding because there was just so much blood everywhere. And I told them where they were. They took a look at him, and they kept the pressure applied while they walked him, I think, about 10 feet in front of my car to the ambulance. And that was the last time I ever saw that man.
Well, and but you did an amazing thing, and you should be congratulated. And the interesting thing is that you told me last night when we talked that people kept driving by, and
Yeah.
and they were not stopping, they were not paying attention, they were not offering to help. They just kept driving by.
Yep. I want to give more props to the people out there that do stop and take the time. This is a gut instinct. This is a gut instinct and reaction where it's either fight or flight. And I was fighting. I was there to help fight for that man's life. I didn't second guess myself. I didn't hesitate. I saw a man in need, completely bloody from head to toe, and knew my heart had to help him.
Well, you did a phenomenal job of and quite literally, as we discussed, if the bleeding is coming from a vein, which is the blood going back to the heart, it's a darker color, and if it's going from the heart to like the one on his neck was a bright red.
Right.
So that was oxygen rich, and so that was going up to his brain, which accounts for some of his dizziness that he was feeling as well.
Yes, very much so. It wasn't more of a conversation I was having with him. In that time, once he was sitting on the back end of my car, I was on the phone talking to dispatchers, holding him. They were telling me to keep applying the pressure that I was applying. I said, you guys don't understand. You need to get people here immediately. This is far worse than people are calling in to be. And they just said, keep doing what you're doing. I gave him my name and my number, and that was the end of it. And a part of me, I almost broke, like, why is nobody here stopping to help me? I need help. I want help, and nobody's here to help me. And the other guys on the motorcycle looked at me and goes, but you're doing it just fine and don't need help. You have it under control until the ambulance gets here.
So the motorcycle stayed, and the motorcyclist
the
stayed.
other 6 motorcyclists that were not in the same group with this man, they heard it, and they were ahead of him, and he was trying to catch up to them, or something in my mind, and he lost it. They stopped, pulled over, grabbed all the debris from the bike, from the car, weaving in and out of traffic so people that could continue driving, so it wasn't stopped.
Well, what was interesting about this whole thing is that you had a premonition. Tell us about that.
I had a really strong feeling, I'd probably say about 2 months ago.
Whoa.
That I felt like I was going to save someone's life. I then went to Mystical Wares in Mount Vernon with my mom, did a salt room for about an hour, and left there and had a conversation with my mother and told her, man, and I go, Mom, I really, really, really feel like I'm going to end up saving someone's life. And I go, I don't know when, but I have a feeling it is coming extremely soon. And I said, I have a feeling it has to do with water because of summertime and everything like that. But, that was just, out of the air. One of those feelings, another thought to go with the feeling that I had, which was my own thought, not what was really coming to.
It's not very often where somebody will just think that they're going to save somebody's life. It doesn't really work like that for most people.
No, but I can look at somebody and tell them that I feel like they're going to have a baby in a year. And it might be a girl or a boy, and sure as shit, it comes true.
Well, and a couple of things. First of all, I'm not going to doubt you anymore because you foretold my mother's death. And that my brother was there to help her, and we were doing podcasts, and I'm not going to say who the individual was, but on Friday and Thursday we were doing some music podcasts, and you said that somebody was going to be in trouble. Tell us about that.
I said somebody was going to be in trouble. Oh no, refrain my brain. What did I say?
You text and said somebody's got a heart condition, or there's a heart problem going on.
Yeah, like, well, I was either a heart attack or I believe I felt a brain aneurysm.
And that a death was coming soon, and you said, "I hate this shit when this happens."
Yeah, I did. Okay, now I'm remembering. But yeah, I mean, I want to look at it as a curse, but then I look at it as a blessing, because if I wouldn't have lost my keys, if I wouldn't have passed the 2 cars that I passed, either that could have been me and my children, or I could have not witnessed it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So divine timing, I was placed there to help him at that point in time. I wasn't going to continue driving. I could have cared less that my kids were in the car. They know that my children know that their mother just saved a man's life at that point in time. And I want every child to know that they can save anybody. Go with your gut.
Exactly. Tell us about now. Did you ever ride a motorcycle?
Yes, God. Yeah, I ran one into a doghouse, flipped over it, almost broke all my finger. I mean, I've learned my lesson on vehicles, motorcycle accidents, car accidents. I've had my fair share. People need to be more aware. There are motorcyclists out there that are extremely cautious, or get blinded by somebody's lights, or can't see vans, or other cars can't see them,
or those crystal things hanging in the mirror.
Yeah, or crystal things hanging in people's mirrors. That's what got me in my car wreck on the freeway, was I was blinded by a crystal thing on the freeway and didn't realize that everybody was braking. So there's just or bright stickers or decals on people's cars. Those are blinding.
You've had quite a number of, like, I believe your mom said that if you were a cat, you'd have used up all your 9 lives.
Yep, my grandmother and my mother both tell me that. Yeah. I strongly vouch for this. I definitely think I'm high up there with about 8.
Well,
yeah.
But it's important for you to continue doing what you're doing and living your life, and you're going to live a long time. So, but what's it like when you have one of these premonitions? Is it like, oh no, here we go again?
No, it's just so persistent. Like, watching John Edwards, how he's just so persistent on a feeling and he just doesn't let it go. That's what I got. I got that feeling months ago. Like, I feel like I'm going to save somebody. I feel like I'm going to save somebody. I kept saying this. Yeah. And then I visibly and verbally said it to my mother. And here now, 2 weeks later, it happened.
Well, according to
I myself,
yeah,
and pray. I don't.
Well, according to John Edwards, what he does is he can't let it go. They will not mentally move him forward until he gets a response to a particular question.
Right.
So he has to keep coming back to it because he can't continue on because they won't let him. It's the very same thing that happens to you, is that they're not going to let you just poo-poo it. They're going to say, no. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen until you acknowledge that this is going to happen. And you were prepared for it. That helped.
A little prepared for it. Yeah. A little, if that's not a big enough warning sign, or a, hey, we're over here still. We know what's going on. We can see what's going on in the future. Here's a heads up. I know it was my Uncle Mike that lost my keys. I know he was with me at my family barbecue. There's no way, because my son played cornhole for the first time 2 times, and he whooped my 70-year-old Uncle Tom's butt in cornhole, who'd been playing for years. So I know that he was there, guiding and protecting everyone. But to hide my keys, you hear people saying, oh, a ghost did this, or a spirit did this and hid this and put it somewhere different. That happens to me all the time.
Now, how long did it delay your departure because you couldn't find your keys?
10 minutes.
About 5-10 minutes.
And that was just the amount of time that was necessary for you to get on the road at that exact moment,
Yep.
to get on the road at that exact moment, so that you could come up behind the accident at exactly that moment.
Yeah, I
So
strongly believe that. And just seeing all the cars go by as I'm like just holding him, I'm walking across the freeway. He's completely bloody as can be. I'm bloody from my arms down. My dress is completely ruined. My legs are bloody. How would you not stop? How would you not ask if I'm okay? Or let alone, how would you not stop to see if he's okay? It's kind acts. Where in the hell is humanity gone? Kevin?
I
What
can't.
is wrong with this generation of people? Where's the common courtesy, the decency of being respectful to another human being?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, Kayla, and it's frightening because I don't know how somebody could not stop. There was debris all over the road, and I'm sure that some people had to swerve around the debris.
Yes, no, they were swerving. That's what I saw. Looking about the 20 cars that were in front of me, I saw people running in and out. I saw cars swerving. They weren't even in their lanes. They were going all over the place and really slowed down. And I was like, okay, well, nobody's stopping. I'm going to stop traffic right here in the fast lane and ask. Has 911 already been called? Who needs help? Where's the person that needs help? I knew the father was okay. He wasn't bleeding. So I knew that he was okay. I knew because he wasn't bloody at all. He didn't have a scratch on him.
Well, he was in a van.
Yeah.
And so he was protected. It's the motorcycle and I've been told by you earlier and by your mom that he wasn't wearing a helmet.
I did not visibly see a helmet anywhere.
Unless he took it off.
Yeah, unless he did. Yeah, I don't know. I never saw one. Not by his bike, not nothing.
If he was wearing a helmet,
please, I'm on live, Mom.
if he was wearing a helmet, chances are that he would not have had the neck injury.
You know what? You're right. Because you know what? It was that fine line, though, of where it would have came down if he was really wearing one, where he would have had those marks probably right in here.
Yeah. But regardless of whether he was or not, if he ever rides again, will have a helmet on. That's the thing, Kayla. There are two things. Is the one, by the way, thank you very much on behalf of all of us for saving and for helping and stopping. And I just can't believe that nobody else nobody else got stopped while you were crossing the road. Were people swerving around you?
Yes, they stopped and then continued driving. Like once I crossed each lane.
Can I say something?
Like what?
Okay. Well, with all the shootings and everything going on, I can see why some people might have been hesitant to walk up to a vehicle where somebody's all bloody. I mean, chances are they didn't know if there was a shooting going on or what. I wouldn't probably walk up to a vehicle not knowing, and just in fear of that there's a shooting or something going on, gun related or something. Nowadays, that's why so many people are hesitant.
But this is a true statement. There are people that are those hesitant people, and then you get me, the 1% that's like, nope, I have to stay.
Well, and I would like to think that people can figure out when there's debris all over the road that a motorcycle has gone down, and that people are willing to help. It was interesting. I came upon a motorcycle accident up going on I-5 when I was driving a bus, and the lanes were all full. There was a gal that was helping a guy that had just fallen, and there was his arm was either broken and his bone was sticking out of his arm and all of that kind of stuff, and she was helping him, but there wasn't, a lot of people just kept on going. People just kept on going, and I don't know where our society is, where people aren't willing to help each other the way that I would like us to do.
I know I totally feel this on another level. That's why this morning I woke up and I was like, we need to let people be aware that not only is a motorcyclist at fault, but there are other vehicles that can be at fault too. You know, these are big boy toys right here, female toys for that instance, you know. It's just like men driving tractors and Tonka trucks and stuff like that. They probably played with them when they were kids. Now they're doing it live, big style, you know. They need to take into factor that their lives matter, but the people around them lives matter. So in that point in time, you have to look at your surroundings. You have to be aware and in tune of the environment that you're put into. You can't live life recklessly. You could if you really wanted to, if you want to be a dumbass, but you have to stay strong. You have to think straight.
Well, and riding a motorcycle is a heavy responsibility because you do not have any protection at all.
No.
And he was going at such a rate of speed I think you're probably right. He was trying to catch up to the other riders. Mm-hmm. And so he was going at a high rate of speed and perhaps weaving in amongst the cars, weaving in and out. And then the traffic slowed down and he could not react fast enough.
Nope.
And that, you know, that's a terrible thing when somebody does something like that to themselves. But I'm just so. Now, what was his demeanor when you walked up to him and he said he's not all right?
Like he was gonna faint, like he needed a motherly person to be right there for him. Like I could tell he was absolutely terrified. He goes, I really hope an EMT or an emergency gets here quickly. And that's when I ran back across the freeway, grabbed my car seat covers that I had in my back end, and I wrapped his wrists and started applying the pressure. Once I found out visibly where all the blood was squirting from, like a horror movie, I then collected myself and wrapped him up as good as I could, and then crossed back over again and had him come sit down.
You do recognize how special what you did was, right?
I do, but I'm sorry it happened, but I'm extremely blessed that it happened because it made me more aware of my surroundings. It made me more in tune with the environment, and I wouldn't take it back and I wouldn't do anything differently. I would have done everything the exact same way. Even if his life would have been lost right there at my hands, I don't think I would not have changed what I did. I would have stopped all over again.
Well, and which was the right thing to do. And thank God that you, being a mom, you fix bloody noses and stuff like that. So you've seen, well, being a mother, you've seen all sorts of things leave a child's body. And so,
yes.
So you're used to having bodily fluids and all that kind of stuff. And so it didn't, now when he was bleeding like that, did it shock you? Or was it like, okay, well, he's bleeding, I better fix it?
I was shocked. I was completely shocked to see him covered in head to toe in blood. I was really, really shocked. I was panicked, but I held my panic in. I was trembling. I'm not going to lie. I was trembling and shaking the whole time. My nerves were completely shook. They were shot from hell and high water. I cried all the way home afterwards. I was still traumatized after the fact. I'm still traumatized from this. People need to realize that if you're put in a place at a certain time, don't drive by. If you've got that gut instinct that something's just not right, maybe it's just a fender bender. Have the decency to pull over just to ask if those drivers are okay, because you could make their day, or you could let alone help them and not even know it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I told you about the accident that I witnessed on I-90, and it was an SUV with a trailer, and she must have been going about 70 because she hit the corner too hard, and the trailer fishtailed, and she lost it, ended up on her side in the ditch, and there was nobody there when I got there.
Yeah.
So I stopped, and fortunately for me and for her and her baby and 3 kids and dog that were all in the SUV. They couldn't get out because the doors of those things are really quite heavy.
Suburbans are very heavy, especially if they're flipped over or angled any kind of different. Hard to
Yeah,
open up the door.
so all I could do was to hold the door open so that they could maybe have an opportunity to crawl out. Fortunately, nobody was badly hurt, but and also it got, there were bunches of folks that stopped, and so we had like 10 or 15 guys that were trying to help them get out of the SUV and stuff. But it just amazes me though, that because I've seen this all the time. Well, I told you about the time when I was driving a bus. I was going down the Soto busway, and there was a lady I was behind a Sound Transit bus, and there was a lady that was on a walker and was pretty unsteady, and she was trying to walk to the bus stop, and she kind of veered towards the curb, and one of the wheels went off the curb. She lost her balance right when the Sound Transit coach was going by, and she slammed into the side of the Sound Transit bus, bounced off, and laid motionless on the ground. Now, we're trained to, first of all, to call something like that in, and so I had to stay by the phone in order to get that done. Nobody. There were 50 people on my bus. Nobody moved. Nobody got up to see. Nobody got up to help out. It was all like they were divorcing themselves from humanity, and nobody agreed to help. Finally, a gal came up who said, "I'm a nurse. Maybe I can help." So she went out there. I completed the call. I went out there, and the lady that ended up being taken by ambulance. I think she's okay. She was an older lady and stuff. But I am appalled by how we do not take care of each other, just as one human being to another, and people just, they ignore it. They don't. I had a, I had another time when a guy got assaulted on my bus by 2 other people, and I opened the doors like we're trained to do, and the 2 guys left the bus. And as I'm going back to assess the condition of the man that just got beat up, a lady said to me, "Well, they've left the bus. Let's go." And I said, "I'm not going anywhere until I find out if he's okay. And then we're going to call the police, and then we're going to call the medics, and we're going to do all that." She said, "They're gone. And he's not going to want any help. You just continue on." It's like, I cannot. And then she argued with me for the rest of the trip going downtown that she was right, and that I should have just let the guy sit back there. It's just the lack of compassion for our fellow man is, I think, epidemic. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's getting worse.
I do.
Eventually we're going to be at ground zero.
I agree with you. We are looking out after our small little tribes, and we're not looking out after the bigger picture of helping each other out of bad situations. And and that happened to you. I can't imagine you walking a man that's clearly hurt, with blood from head to toe, across the highway, and people not only don't stop, they slow down just so that you can walk in front of them, but then they just speed off after that.
Yeah, I have an orb in my video.
You have an orb?
Yeah, you didn't just see that white thing? It wasn't dust. That was an orb, and it just landed right into my head.
You
have flew away.
Huh?
Or it just flew away. Like it went out that direction. If you read this video, there's an orb flying around me. You said something was around me. Something really is.
Well, there is something around you. By the way, we're talking with Kayla May, and she is a spiritual warrior, and we are very happy to promote her and to work with her from here on out to create some real dynamic stuff, because she is good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, she's at the beginning of her journey, but she sees. I didn't see the orb. I believe I take your word for it, but there was probably somebody there to let you know that they were very proud. They were very proud of you.
Oh, maybe it was one of his family members or something, you know. It wasn't just me. I wasn't alone. I had angels with me. I wasn't just the only, I was the physical one there, but I had all the warriors behind me. And I definitely felt that yesterday. I had a whole army behind me.
And thank God you did.
Yeah, because I had 8 hands that I just magically had, and I only have physically 2.
Oh, exactly. Well, you know, you did it. You did a really nice job. You did a really good thing for people, for this gentleman, and hopefully he'll never do something stupid like that again. And hopefully he'll recover.
I pray, and that's all I can do.
It didn't look like anything was broken. It was just cut up.
Yep. But I mean, there could have been internal bleeding. There could have been broken bones. Hard to tell because his adrenaline was probably just as flowing as much as mine.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he was seeing his life pass before his eyes, and had it not been for you, he might have died right there on the road.
It's a strong possibility, yeah.
Because once you pass out and you're bleeding out, it's pretty much all over.
Yeah.
It's all over. So, Kayla May, I would like you to, we have to wrap it up, but I would love for you to tell our audience anything you'd like to know about you, the future, what we're going to be doing together, all that stuff.
Well, come join us for my spiritual warrior journey. If you'd like advice on intuitiveness, empathic protection, meditation ideas, grounding, you name it, I'll be here. We can go on a journey together and learn and take pride in maybe making the world a little bit of a better place.
That is, I couldn't have said that any better myself. Yeah. And Kayla, I thank you. Her podcast from yesterday will be on My Independence Report later on today or tomorrow. This will be up right away on YouTube. Go watch it if you haven't seen the whole thing. It really is a striking story of what she did to save somebody's life. Mm-hmm. And Paulette says, nicely done, Kayla.
Thank you, Paulette. I wish more people would be aware. Stay safe.
Be safe, be aware, and can we please, can we help each other and be kind? Is that too much to ask? I hope not. I hope we can get back there. Kayla May, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kevin. Amen, guys.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other because each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.